Yeah,
Okay.
got it. Yeehaw.
So, Lynda, I'm going to start it, and I'm going to kind of start it like, welcome to another episode of, and I have a new name for this. It's called the AfterLife Diaries, which is,
Oh, I
yes,
like
this is the name
that.
of the new page, and everything is new, so don't expect nothing huge yet. I mean, it was
No. We all
we have to
start
start
small,
somewhere.
Mike. That's
Yeah, we have to
exactly
start.
right.
And to me, it's
And
going to be the quality over the quantity.
yes, and the good thing is, I won't say I've got a large following, but I do love, people like yourself who say, hey, come on and talk to me. If you share me the link, I'll share it with everybody else I know so then they can watch it too. Because
That's
then that gets
wonderful.
people to like you,
That's wonderful. And
Yes.
again, the purpose of that is to spiritually awaken, or to tell those people, hey, don't lose your hope, live your life on the purpose, whatever. And I never, when I talk about it, there's always these people
Yeah.
that are going to either bring up religion or get offended because you didn't bring up the. I just don't bring religion. We all souls. You wanna treat your soul according to this and that. That's great. I try not to bring that up. I try to talk to about like the universal part of like what we are.
Yes. That's
Because
right.
even all religions will tell you that we all, especially the main one, are part of the same God or the same source.
Mhm.
And so that's why usually I like to, in this Afterlife Diaries, I want to not only talk about near-death experience, but other stories. If people encounter somebody who passed and they were able to encounter them, or somebody with like highly clairvoyant abilities, and just talk about everything that it's afterlife.
Yes. Can I quickly show you a ghost photo that I've got?
Absolutely.
I took these photos. They're my photos. So check him out. That's a real ghost.
Wow. Where did you take this at?
Over at the Toowong Cemetery. So he came up in 3 of my photos. And there's the last one that he's in.
Wow.
Yeah, but I like that one there because you can actually see his. Is that the one? Let me just make sure I've got the right photo. Oh, no, I like this one the best because you can see that he's got you can see his teeth. You can see nose hair.
See the nostrils.
Yeah, you can see nose hair in his
nose.
nostrils. And you can see that he's wearing glasses. So he's got glasses on. Yeah, so they're real photos that I took. And the big thing with like this third one, you can see that this is white noise. So there's no body. It was just his head in the photos.
Wow.
So they're mine. They're copyrighted, but yeah, I love showing them to people. Yeah, because they're my so I've always seen ghosts. I'm actually writing my ghost book at this point. Hopefully I want to try and get that finished in the next week or two. So it'll take about a week to get it formatted because I'm not techie like yourself. Yeah. So by mid-month next month I want to get it on the bookshelves. Yeah, so it's sort of explained, it goes into here's some ghost stories, but this is why they stay. This is what they can do. This is how they do things. So it's more psychology and science in there as well, explaining why they come through, why they stay, why don't they go to heaven, that sort of thing. Because I like pushing that boundary and going to the next level with it. Yeah, so that's what I'm working on now. We're
going to take it now. We're going to actually start. We're going to actually start, even though we start recording, but I wanted to start by you introducing yourself. So like I said, hello everyone, I'm Mike, and we are in another episode 2 of the Afterlife Diaries with me, a very special guest, Dr. Lynda. Lynda, tell us about yourself just briefly, and then we're going to take people right into this deep discussion we're going to have about your story and the conclusions we have from it.
Thank you. So in a nutshell, I was born in the 60s. I've always seen ghosts and I've always known things that I didn't know previously. So that's what we call now psychic abilities. So I've always been a psychic and I've always seen ghosts. Coming up to 2001, I moved over to America and I was living with my then present husband at that time. On the night of May 6, 2001, I stopped breathing. In my medical reports, it says that I was clinically dead for 14 minutes. But we've got to remember that that's when the ambulances arrived, and they declared that because my husband had already rung 911, which is the American emergency, etc. So we can't estimate how long I was physically, clinically dead for. But during that time, I was floating in the living room for at least 45 minutes because I saw all the paramedics coming in. I saw the sheriff and the fire department turn up, and the conversations, I witnessed all of it. Then I went to heaven for what I call 5 years. So in a nutshell, I processed my life review. I went to heaven where I was in that field of flowers that a lot of people do talk about. I followed people around there for a while, a long time, because it was over a year. Then I met my great-great-great-great-grandmother. Her name was Karina. She was also 36 because what I do now is I look for I go beyond what the experience itself was. I want the answers. I want to find the answers to those questions that a lot of people ask. So when I woke up after that event, I was still in hospital for about a week before I went home, but my psychic abilities had severely increased. I was in tune with everything. Trees were talking to me, cars were talking to me, furniture, jewelry, everything was talking to me. I knew things before they happened, which I call is my 3-minute warning. You know what song is coming on the radio. I know what car is coming down the street. I know when the phone is going to ring, so I pick it up just as it's about to ring. So I call that my 3-minute warning that I get. I'm now in a position where I see spirit guides. So a lot of people contact me for their spirit guides. I've had a very interesting life because I've been married 3 times. Twice plus engaged. So now I'm on a mission where I went out, I started life coaching qualifications. I wanted to know the psychology of what I've been through, first of all, because a lot of people call our consciousness our perspective, which is psychology. So I went out and did a diploma of life coaching. I've done a practitioner life coaching course, CBT practitioner course. Then I got led to my PhD, where I started writing my thesis, which was called Interdimensional Transmutation of Consciousness. That's what I called my PhD, trying to work out where I went, how my soul traveled to that dimension. I like finding the deep answers that a lot of people do ask about. I feel that I am in a position to give them some sort of hope and belief that this does occur. I've used a lot of psychology as well as scientific theories like string theory, quantum mechanics, etc. I like dabbling with those, even though I'm not qualified in science or psychology, to try and work all this out. So then when people come to me, whether they're scared of what they're going through as spiritual awakening, or whether they have genuine concerns about what they personally are going through, I hope that I can give them an accurate answer, which is based on not just my empirical evidence of what I personally have experienced, but also what I've learned through all those different fields of like psychology, science, etc., where I'm trying to piece all this together for us all to give us that hope and belief that this does actually do occur. So that's my life in a nutshell. Yeah.
Very interesting. Now, the reason I wanted to stop you for a second is because I already have so many questions to ask you, all the way from the beginning of the story to the end. But I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to start from the end back all the way to your story. So I want to ask you, all these fields that you decided to pursue because of your experience to kind of try to know it better, have you ever tried to look into parapsychology as well? And
Absolutely. I've studied all the parasciences, metaphysics, metasciences. I've looked into all those fields, trying, because it's sort of like religion. If we look at it in a religious sort of way, we have all the different, what I call different avenues with religion. So you take a little bit from this one and a little bit of that one and a little bit of this one, and hopefully I'm creating this formulation of what actually does occur. So we all have different experiences. There's no near-death experience that's identical to the next. So I pull out all those commonalities, those similarities, like floating. So instead of just saying, oh, I floated in the living room, how far off the floor were you? How long were you there for? Did you see yourself having feet? So I look for all those commonalities, so then we can piece this together and say, right, so now we know for sure that when someone does float after their soul leaves the body, this is what they can expect to occur to them. Okay?
Now, let me ask you a question. You were psychic prior to that, as you said.
Yes.
Did you know when you stopped breathing? And by the way, did you just stop breathing because of a medical condition, or was something just randomly?
Yeah. When I died?
Yeah.
They actually call it chronic. Oh gosh.
The sleep apnea,
isn't it? Well, this is the beauty, Mike, because how many people actually have a copy of all their death records? There's all my medical files from when I died. So they're calling it chronic respiration failure is what I died from. Yeah. So so it's all in here. So
I have to breathe type thing, like your body forgets to breathe.
Yeah. Well,
sleep apnea type thing.
Yeah, something like that. I woke up and I was struggling to breathe, and I remember getting to the toilet and I just thought I was going to sleep. Seriously, it was that calming. It was very peaceful. I thought, oh, thank goodness I'm here going to the toilet. I laugh about that, So then I just went to sleep. So.
And did you know you were dying because you were psychic prior? Did you know you are having an out-of-body experience, or you just thought that you were in a dream state?
No, well, no, it was more vivid than a dream state. It was total, what's the word that I would use here? It's panoramic, very panoramic, definitely. Which we, in our peripheral view here, we only see about 180 degrees. But when even floating, I could see past that peripheral. So I was even aware of what the wall behind me.
You feel part of it. You're part of the reality. There was no dimensions. Yes. I remember when mine happened, I couldn't see like you just said, like we see distances, or I couldn't get any kind of proportion to where I was just consuming everything I said, and everything consumed me.
And I like that word that you use there, proportion, because, people ask me all the time, how long was I there for? And I say, well, you can't distance it because there's no time. There's no seconds, minutes, or hours. So I base it on how far I would have walked. So, I've sat there in like a meditation sequence at night, and I'm rehashing my footsteps up there. Okay, so I was at this house and I'm walking down this pathway, and in my visual of what I could see, that path would be about 100 feet. Then I went down to a river, and then I walked kilometers to this city. Okay, I generally walk about 4 to 6 kilometers an hour. So to get from this point to that point to that point, that would have been approximately 4 or 5 hours just there in that one walk. I like talking about it. Like that. So we try to estimate what it is in this time now. I base when I was with my great grandmother, I've sat there and I try and remember all the conversations that we had, and I say it was over a year. It could have been a year and a half that she was talking to me for. So the best way to analyze that scientifically is if we're on the phone for an hour and then you hang up from talking to someone and you think about what you said in that hour, and now multiply that by 10,000 for me. So it's like a year and a half of talking back and forward. Some of her sentences would have gone for a few minutes each, where she was explaining her life, what she used to do. And I was just sitting, I was standing there because I didn't have to sit, but we try and estimate a time on that. And then, we say, well, when physically did I actually go there? Because this is a big question that I even ask, because I know that I was clinically dead prior to the ambulances arriving. Then I was floating and I saw the first paramedics come through, which is in my medical report. They're called basic life support. The crew turned up. I watched them go in. Then I watched the advanced life support crew come in they carried the defibrillator and some more bags of equipment. They went in. Then I was watching the sheriff and the fire department talking to my ex-husband. And I could see their name badges, and I was making, I could remember what they were saying. And then I saw them wheel me out on the gurney, which is in here in my medical files. It's 45 minutes that they're in the house for. So that's why I say I was floating for that 45 minutes. But then in the ambulance report, it says that I was shaking my head. They were asking me questions in the ambulance. I obviously do not have any recollection or memory at all of being in the ambulance. I went to heaven for 5 years, and then I woke up in ICU where they're pulling the tubes out of my throat. But in the ambulance report, they said that, they were asking me things like, do I feel nauseous? Because I had a tube down my throat. Do I feel nauseous? And apparently I was shaking my head, but I have no recollection. So here's another question that we must ask. Was it my soul still in the body at that point? Or was like a stand-in, a walk-in, because we can have walk-in souls at some point when they take over. So was there somebody else that said, hey, I'll occupy the Lynda body for that 10 minutes while she's having this event? So, that's another thing.
I have a theory about that if you want to hear that.
Yes, I'd love to hear it.
I truly believe that we possess two souls, or at least two or to even three parts
Yes.
of our soul. There was one that is the physical soul. There was one that is, you can call it the godly soul, the soul that part departs, and there's like a constant battle. This is like the whole point of the free will, the free choice in life, is that you have the bodily, the physical soul that wants to do things that are good for the body. We do some bad things because of it too. We lie because to please our physical needs. Eventually we steal to take money that's going to please our physical body and presence. We do a lot of things with that physical soul. And then there's a part of us that can walk in the street and see like a little snail or a turtle, want something in the middle of the road. And sometimes our body, our bodily soul will say, just, you're in a hurry, just ignore it, somebody else will pick it up or whatnot. It can be even a piece of rubbish on the floor. But there's a part of you be like, you know what, I'm going to just stop. Like something in me telling me that I need to do this, or I need to return that lost item to the owner. I need to do some extra, which is things that you don't even normally do. But that's where that godly soul comes in place. Excuse me. I seriously think that when we dream, some of our dreams are there as messages. Some of them are just stuff that we've been through during the day. Some of them are bodily, a physical soul is dreaming, and we can wake up. And some is actually our godly, our spirit, our actual soul, the core of our soul is departing, is going up to heaven. It's almost like going, I told my wife once, it's like going to the principal's office, going for briefing, for spiritual recharge. Think about it. The soul cannot sleep. The body needs to sleep, but the body cannot sleep while your soul is going somewhere. So it's almost like you're playing something like a Netflix movie called The Dream, for the physical soul to be content while your spiritual one is getting what it needs. That's why everything.
I actually call those download nights, Mike. That's what I call a download. Exactly
what that is. You can call it you can call it anything, because we're still physical human beings. So we always try to find physical terms to explain the metaphysical. And often it's hard for us, and often it's very hard to convince somebody who haven't been even through our experience. So you have to come up with whatever physical and be like, it's like this, and it's like, you see what happened to me after my experience. My biggest gift is that I don't see people for who they are anymore. We always look at people, we first get impressed by their physical looks, then we think like, okay, I wonder what they do for a living. And then you kind of question about their character. I just see light bulbs inside of people. I see light. I see. That's right. But what's beautiful is I see if somebody is depressed, I see the light is a little dimmer. It's like a little, and somebody's happy. That's what we say. You're enlightened. You look enlightening.
Yeah.
You're enlightened. You enlighten the room. It's literally a thing. Inside, if you see through those spiritual goggles, you'll literally just see sparks of light. And some of us out there happy. Some of us are like a candle that's about to die, and we all need to share that light. But again, the physical aspect, its sole role is to distract us from that light. It's to show that everything is here, we die, and that's it.
Would you call that auras, Mike?
That's exactly what that is. What is aura?
Yes.
Aura is a Hebrew word for light, or is light.
Yes.
Aura because is the light usually above angels too.
Yep, that's another gift that I have. Since about 8 years ago, I got upgraded, because we do get upgraded with our gifts, and I now see auras around people as well. So, as a joke, I went over to the hardware store and got all their paint samples. So just bear with me.
Okay.
Oops, I just got to take out my headset. Sorry about that.
Oh, you're fine.
I'm here with a lot of papers and stuff. So this is what I went and got from the paint sample shop. So now when I look at people and they say, oh, can you see my aura? I can tell them what color they are, and I can tell them what shade it is. See, they're all got their names on them. So I say, oh, yes, have a look at this shade of pink. That's your aura. And I always say to them, Google the color yourself, because I don't want to put my ego into what I verify about people, But obviously some people I see, the same as what you were saying, it comes out of them like fluorescent, glitterized, dimensional rays.
Yeah.
Other people, it's like pastel colors. Other people I see covered in black. They're the ones who I avoid. And then unfortunately, there's also the ones that I've seen that don't have any auras. And then, you find that they've passed away in a few days, so we do lose this aura, I don't know.
Days, our soul knows 30 days prior to departure that it's about to depart, like the inner part, the godly one that's not going to tell us. The part of soul that we have as infants inside our mother's wombs, when we don't drown, we don't require the normal day-to-day oxygen that humans do, we are in this state of, that's also a state of consciousness.
Absolutely.
But when seeing people, I also and I'll tell you another thing about me. Like I said, I love these things because I like interviews that become a discussion, because then a lot of people can be like, okay, well, I got their story, I got his story, I want to know, because they had stories, what they think about those things. And it's like it's nice to exchange opinions. And I'm also happy to teach my wife, who is, and I'm sorry I'm talking about you not behind your back, but it's important because it's for the sake of it as well. She's also,
absolutely,
she hasn't been through a near death, but she's spiritual enough, but she's one of those who needs to, it still need to come out in some form or get upgraded.
Yes.
But I told her that I feel also, besides the light, it's also the warmth, temperature, or coolness. If somebody is a cold person, I will feel that cold. If somebody is warm, I will. It's almost like a bug that attracts itself to a light bulb.
Yes, it's that magnetism. Yes,
magnetism. That's what I felt about her, because with my wife now, it was spiritually talking. I truly believe and know, and I said it to my wife in the beginning before we even met physically, that it's. I believe that's her mother who passed away, who sent me her way, or sent her my way, and she knew who are my twin flame and who her daughters was. And I'm sure you believe, this twin flame.
Oh yes.
So
absolutely, absolutely.
She is mine, and we're working on spiritual growth.
Yes,
we're doing also now.
Well, someone asked me the other day. They said, "Was it part of my life contract to have the NDE?" And I actually said yes to that, because some of us do need that like wake up call where we have an experience So it does put us back onto the path of where we should have been. And, you know, then you look at, say, like your wife, Lisa, she does not need to have that experience because she's already got that belief in what happens through you, you
Or
know.
through our past as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. You know,
Yes,
so
absolutely.
I've probably read about 3,000 to 5,000 NDE stories over the years. You know, one of the first people I found was Dr. Raymond Moody, thank goodness, after mine. So he put me in touch with the IANS, International Near-Death Experience Society, and all these other groups. And it helped me realize that I wasn't the only one who went through it, but it still didn't answer all those questions in the back of my head.
And I'll tell you why.
How?
I'll tell you why.
Please do.
And well, I can't believe I'm saying this to you, but keep an open mind.
Absolutely.
The answers for these near-death experiences can never be found at either somebody else's experience or somebody who read millions of stories or was a scholar for this, because there is no formal education on this subject.
No.
Not on this subject.
No.
It's because the answers are within you. All of us who've been through this were chosen, were carefully selected to go through this experience. And you can try to find out why, if it's something you did in this world, if it's something that has to do with reincarnation, something you have to do in your past life. We don't know. There is no point of knowing because we are part of eternity. This is the only place that is temporary, which is this planet. The rest of us is we're always there, sparks of light, doing our different missions to fulfill stuff that is above our understanding. Okay, maybe when
I'm glad
we go back to our spiritual home, we will know, we have that knowledge, but right now we don't. But we were chosen. You know, I truly believe in the term and in my role as an earth angel, and not because, oh, you know, this happened to me, I think I'm an earth angel, because I see people for who they are. All my life I was bounced to this extremes ends of the earth, literally different countries, middle of nowhere, and I've always ended up encountering or being in a situation when I have to help somebody. And not with money. Not with money. Spiritually, spiritually, I can be in a hospital and talk to this person. I used to be a hospital security and talk to this person who almost killed himself a few minutes prior to this. And I was able to get a hug in the end of it. Well, he just didn't want to talk to me of the police officer. And this guy talk again. And this woman, I was like, oh, your husband says hi. And he was a jazz player, and I knew he was a musician. And I'm not. That's why I don't do readings. I tell people, leave the people who passed. They're in a better place. I can read your soul. You the one who need the reading, not the one. You don't need to know, you know, oh, do you recognize this special shirt that my mommy used to wear? And what's the point of that type of reading?
That's right.
We're trying to grow, or we're trying to reminisce. If you try to reminisce, open your album, your family album, and reminisce how your mother used to look and what she used to wear, because everything's there. So when I do, that's why I don't do reading. If I'm a psychic, I'll be a psychic to help your soul at the moment.
Absolutely. That's what I prefer too.
The answers are there with you. Find out why it happened to you, or what is your role. And sometimes the role is not that fancy. We don't get like fancy offices and stuff. We just encounter souls and save them. And even in Judaism, where I'm from, we believe that if you save one soul, one spark, it's like you saved the whole light. Because if you take a small little glass through a big reflection, it'll create a huge
that ripple, exactly. You know, just on that note that you were just talking about working in security, when I was talking to my great grandmother, Karina was her name, she actually said to me that I'll be working with the police for 10 years. I did work with the police for 10 years. And she said, during that time, you're going to learn how to be more compassionate, more kind, more giving. And boy, you know, because I was an administration officer, I wasn't a sworn police officer, but I was in the position when criminals used to come in, I used to sit with them and I'd say to them, what happened today to make you want to do this? Because the police only see the offence and they charge them for that offence. Whereas I wanted to know what was going on in their lives, etc., to, you know, show them a way of not doing that again, you know. And there were some really, really sweet events we had this one woman, and I hope this doesn't trigger anyone, but she overdosed on a drug. She was at her end of her tether, and I sat with her as the ambulance they were trying to take her to the hospital. And for some reason, I was sitting there with her, had my arm around her, and she said, no one has ever, from the police, no one ever has given me a hug before. And I said, well, now you're offending me, because I am a representation of the police, even if I'm an admin, but I am more than willing to accept you for who you are without judgment of what you've been through. And she ended up getting onto the ambulance, and the paramedic came over and he said, I don't know what you just did.
Exactly.
But you did it.
So now you know why you had a near-death experience.
Absolutely.
And I'll tell you something. You want to know something about, you said police, and Lisa is here. She knows. I was a police officer. I was a correctional officer in a maximum security prison in Illinois, where my experience happened right after.
Wow.
Where the worst criminal, I used to, and they used to always love me because I treated them like people.
That's exactly
my best friends
right.
And my other job when I had a business at the mall were the cleaners, were the homeless people, were people that I call them the see-through people that nobody really looks at. It's like they don't even there, the see-through. And I used to always give them respect, and you can see how their face, their soul is able to change their facial expression.
Absolutely.
They get filled with like, wow, they talk to me. Wow, they smile. Sometimes just one smile at somebody.
That's
just
exactly
hey, good morning.
right.
I hope your day is great. That's all it takes.
Absolutely.
So what are you? An ER doctor, a trauma doctor, a paramedic, what is their job? To do what? I'm asking you. To save lives, right? Paramedic. To
save lives. That's exactly
ER doctor,
right.
trauma doctor, right? They wake up in the morning saving lives. We are saving souls.
Absolutely.
Doctors to save souls. And it doesn't matter where, and the reason it happened to us just recently is because the world is getting uglier. There's more and more people, the darkness, and you can try to sugarcoat. And I'm a firm believer of optimism, but I'm also believe that if you keep being optimistic, you won't know there is a problem. The world's getting uglier. You can't trust people. We are very, very dependent on physical stuff and electronic stuff. And like there is no more sort of soul-to-soul interaction. People have a lot of fear, a lot of a doubt when they deal with other people. Why are they nice to me? Like they ask themselves, why are they nice?
Yes.
What did they want from me that they're nice to me?
Yes.
It's no longer like, oh, they're just genuinely nice, because we lose that.
Because we're brought up and conditioned to expect some sort of reward when we do good. That's the big problem with the society. That really is. But when we do things out of the goodness of our own heart, just for the fact of doing those random acts of kindness, I prefer to do the random acts of kindness where people don't know it's me. I love it. The amount of times that I've been in like a shop and you just leave $5 on the counter. So then someone comes in and, oh my God, I've got $5. I prefer to be that guy than the one where they come up to me and say, oh, thank you for doing that. I don't do it for that thank you. I don't do it for that reward. I actually go away feeling great that they've given me that confirmation that it's increased their positivity and their outlook, but I don't do it for that purpose. I much prefer to sit in the darkness of the shadows and just watch what happens, without being recognized for it. Because, that's just society that dictates to us that we are conditioned that way. We win a race, we win a trophy. It's always been instilled in us that there's always a reward for it. And we have to remember here, on a holistic level, there is a reward for being good. It's those brownie points that we get in heaven, ultimately in our life review, etc. Because, I processed so many thousands of memories. Some of them were really shockers, where I've been like, the one I like talking about is when I've punched a girl at school. But then other times when I was nice to someone, that ripple effect, it's so powerful. And your tears are streaming down your face because there's so much gratitude, appreciation, and love. And, so that's,
I'm honored. I walk with Lisa, and when we have a chance, and again, I'm sorry for interrupting you. When we have a chance to help, and we sometimes often end up with situation when it's like we get a chance to help. Like we found this lost cell phone, and instead of just like, hey, let's just leave it, or let's just this, we searched and we found out that this old person didn't really have much money, really needed that, and was thanking me. Oh, how do I ever thank you? This guy that had a flat tire, nobody wanted to help him, and I went, and I don't do it for the thank yous, but like you said, I'm honored to say, hey, God, thank you for still keeping me in your radar. Like you're giving me these opportunities. It's like I'm glad to be able to work to provide for my family. But when I'm able to do these deeds, these spiritual changes, transformations, I know my role is important. I'm doing this with you right now for the sake of this spirituality, because I could have said doing money, but like, what's the point? I know I've died before, and I know that money means anything, and anything can end in a seconds. And I know how short life is, in a way, without sounding like I'm pro, death. I'm looking forward for my time. I don't know. I don't want it to happen right now, but I'm not scared of it by no means. That's why I'm trying to hurry up and be like, hey, I know that there's no end. So
that's right.
If I need to do spiritual deeds and stuff, this is the time.
And I'm glad that you mentioned the mobile phone, because I've been in a position too where I found a mobile phone and I've tracked down the owner of it, and you give it back to them and it's like, oh my God, thank you. So here's the question, Mike. You look at where the mobile phone was, and I'm sure you would say you were not alone. There was other people that could have picked up that phone. Definitely. There were other opportunities where other people could have taken that phone. Why us? Why were we the ones who found it before somebody else stole it? You know what I mean?
Because it was meant for us.
Of course they were meant for us. I talk about the day that homeless man got off the train. I never catch a train. And that day I had to go into the city for a doctor's appointment. He fell over and he broke his trolley, and it was the door right in front of me is where he came out. And I had $20 in my wallet. It was virtually all I had to my name at that point, but I gave it to him freely because that's how much a new trolley was. So then we've got to look at those synchronicities that are in play.
Very similar synchronicities.
They knew what time I had to be there. They knew what train I had to catch. They knew what platform he was going to be on. They knew that his trolley was $20. So why was I carrying only one note that day, which was a $20 note? Why was I there at that specific time, at that specific place, unless it was their work?
Of course. Of course. And it's funny you're saying this like that. Lisa can tell you, we came back from America. We were in Chicago. We came back a little over 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago from yesterday. And on the way back, we are very exhausted after a 5.5 hour of train ride. And we're trying to find our way from the train station in Chicago to the airport. We're thinking about an Uber or taxi. It was a rainy day, cold, tons of bags.
Yes.
And we just want to go home. And I'm like, okay, we're gonna find out where to get a taxi from. And this gentleman, homeless guy, he opens his door for me and Lisa. And I just I asked him, I say, hey, where do I get the cab from? He's like, listen, I can help you. And I thought he's taking us to the cab. And he was really, it didn't look like he's dangerous. It was nice. He was like, I can hold the bags. I was careful. I didn't want to get robbed or anything. But at the same time, I trusted him. I really trust him with my bags. I normally would not, be that easy. And then he took it and he started walking us, and it's raining. And was like, where are you taking us? He's like, I'm going to save you some money. It's going to be a lot of money. And 10 minutes past that, we are soaking wet from rain. Lisa's hair, our bags, everything. And the gentleman took us. I would have enjoyed that. He took us to another train where you can, for $3, get a ticket all the way to the terminal, all the way to the airport. So he saved us over $100 and something. And we also had a $20 bill in our pocket. And the guy, all he wanted, I knew he was trying to get something out of it, but at the same time, I'm glad that not only I saved money, but I was also able to help you. So we gave him $20, and he was and everybody was happy. And also, why him? I could have just gone, but synchronicities, if people would know, if they exist and they take us every day, all day with everything we do, nobody would ever be pessimistic. Nobody would ever be depressed. about anything in life. Nothing.
Yes, I know. I
So,
know. And that's, that pains me that people just don't, because I'll go there. When I left the police, I actually got medically retired because I got PTSD. And it did take me 2 years where I was studying life coaching, etc., dealing with my own depression that I had from what I'd seen, because I used to work in forensics. So you can imagine, I was seeing a lot
I have
of
PTSD
stuff.
too from the prison,
Yep.
prison and the
Yep.
accident. Yeah.
Yes. But it's how we use those as strengths to help other people. I talk to so many people who have had an experience, and they're not sheltered people. They've all had traumas, pains, hurts. They've been that warrior even before they had their near-death experience or out-of-body experience or other spiritual event where it's given them that wake-up call. And it's almost like we were getting tested to see if we were strong enough to come out of our near-death experience and say, okay, I've just
Not
signed
all of
up.
us are teacher. There's levels in this.
Oh, of course.
I was able to astral project it out of the car before it happened. If you see what happened to me, I was released from the hospital after 2 hours. And most of these 2 hours were just waiting on the x-rays. I have my medical file too.
Yeah.
Just like yours, the day of the accident. And if you see, there's a video of the van, the car, and you see the driver's side where I was, and you see how it was like daggers, and it was like a can of a tin can that somebody just squashed. And I came out of there, I'm telling you, not even a scratch on my pinky. And it was in kilometers, it was 85 miles per hour. And I'm hitting a pole straight on, like a utility pole from concrete. And I roll over 5 times and nothing is even scratched. And I was the best feeling in the world. And I just went, I was fine. I was like, see, I had the experience, but I was fine physically. I was able to
absolutely.
And I believe I was reincarnated, like the same soul to the same body in a different age, which is weird because I'm not the same person I was before. I was in a way spiritual, but I was never.
That's what people say to me. People say to me all the time, Lynda, how old are you? Because you don't act 56. I'm 56 now, but I'm still 36 because it was 21, 22, 21 years ago that I died, but I'm still that same age in here, and that's why I hope that, it's that confirmation that people need that, we've been through these horrible events and it hasn't affected us to the point where we blame that event for who we still are. And that's the biggest difference here. A lot of people that have like depression, they'll blame something in their past, usually another person, where they don't look at themselves and hold themselves accountable and say, right, this was an opportunity rather than this was an error. So everything I look at in life is an opportunity now. If I'd gone back to when I was 35 and before my event, I would have been the first one to say, oh man, why is it raining today? Now I can't go for a drive. Whereas now I say, thank God it's raining. I'll go and stand in it and I get wet because now I'm feeling that, the energy coming down in the water, because water does hold energy. If you research Emoto Masuro, he did a lot of experimentations on water. So I love getting into water now, even if it's just raining. People think I'm an idiot. They say, oh, Lynda, you're 56 years old. Why do you act like
of the body and soul?
Yes.
But I'll tell you something about what you said. Aside from my wife and my children in my life, the experience I'm the most grateful for is that accident, near-death experience.
Absolutely.
I got to be surrounded by God. I got to be held by God. I felt at the time not even worthy of what he gave me. And the accident and everything that happened, that's graphic, that's nice, that will get some people to be like, wow.
Yeah.
But I don't care about that. The big wow for me is the miracles after, the fact that I was untouched and all the knowledge
Yes.
that came into my head like a disc on key, like a portable hard drive. Every vision
Yes.
at night, everything, numbers, the numbers that keep coming, 7, 27, 27, especially with me and Lisa together, like how
Yes.
we bond spiritually, how we. So I feel like, hey, if I want to give back because of this gift, this feeling, this amazing, see, I can't get pessimistic ever in my life again.
We can't.
It's like, what's the
No.
worst that can happen? What,
Yeah,
death?
because
Well, I mean,
yes. People ask me all the time, if I saw my ex-husband on the street, would I be able to forgive him for what he did to me in 2001? Because it was through neglect, okay, what happened to me. And I say to people instantly, I don't need to forgive him because I already have. If I saw him on the street, I'd just run up and give him the biggest hug and say thank you, because he gave me the biggest joy of my life. And, I've been married a few times. I've had children, and the event that I had with my near-death experience, it far outweighs even the birth of a child, so that just shows you how powerful that was. And I think it's just that we come back to the ripple effect, we come back to the mirror effect. What I personally do, I hope it reflects out of me and it creates that energy, that frequency in others. It gives them that feeling, which is emotion, that they can also portray what I am trying to portray. So there is, I actually wrote a thesis just on pheromones and endorphins about, is it science how our aura attaches to other people in that connectiveness? So is it like a pheromone that emits out of us and it attaches to somebody else?
It can translate to science, but it's I believe that it's that spiritual thing, that light.
Of course.
It's a different dimension. I believe that because when my accident, I was in the same scene, but it was a different realm, different dimension.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
It's like there's like levels of there's layers of dimensions outside of consciousness that starts from the very low, which is our physical, and then it just expands and expands. And I've been, it's like in Kabbalah, like in Jewish mysticism, you'll have the 10 spheres, the tree of life, which all have different, that's like the parts of the soul. But like I said, I would love to, to end things, ask you, A, what you think about this conversation, and B, if you would like to share this in your page and kind of talk about it yourself.
Absolutely.
I would love to try to enlighten other souls. And, I believe a lot of people had near-death experience. I don't believe that everybody who had a near-death experience is in that level of like you said, I call us as savers. Like you have to save people even without knowing that you do. But this is your mission. This is your full-time spiritual job. You can have a full-time physical job, but just know that the physical is temporary. We are dying at the moment. We are the dead. The dead is here. Everything that bleeds, that dead skin, dead this, that. This is the dead. Because before this and after this, there was life before death.
Yes.
There was life after death.
Yes.
But during death, there is something that's dying during life. I mean, which is now.
Yes.
So I think I would love to talk about it, and talk to souls who needs that guidance, because this is the role. This is what we're supposed to do. Nothing else. We're not supposed to stand on the top of a mountain and be like, look at us. We're spiritual with this, and and pay us to tell you how heaven looks like. It's really not about that.
No, I like going to that depth of it. Yes, that's
we have to turn that light. We have to turn that fire.
Can I just show you my book, Mike? It's called 5 Years in Heaven: The Teachings of Heaven. The first part of the book, 5 Years in Heaven, which goes to, where does it stop? Here we go. So that part there of my book is all about my near-death experience, what I saw, what I went, how it all went. But the part at the back, see how thick that is? That's called the teachings of heaven.
Wow.
And so in the teachings of heaven, that's all how to be a far better person. So you can see where it is in the book. So I talk about going into our soul, into our consciousness, the ripple effect. What are some of the other chapters in here that I've got? The mirror effect, changing negativities into positives, how like attracts like, how full is our cup, the universal laws, self-emotions, connecting with self, meditation techniques, how to pray, daily affirmations, raising up your vibrations, etc., how to heal ourselves. Now, we all say, oh, yes, I'm going to heal my finger because I cut it. I'll put a Band-Aid on it. But when we start talking about healing our soul, getting through past traumas, pains, hurts, any sort of event that happened to somebody else, and this is what's happening right now on the planet, everybody is getting consumed with the energy that is getting created by other people who we have no control in how to stop it. You know, we look right now at what's happening with Ukraine, Russia, America, even Poland's in the mix now, and all these other countries. I sit here in Australia. I cannot dictate through free will what these leaders of all these global countries are doing, but I can certainly send out that healing energy so we realign our conscious or soulistic consciousness. So when we're creating in this mirror effect, so everybody starts getting through all that pain and hurt that we've been through, especially the last 2 years. You know, we look at DV rates, we look at the murder rates, we look at how many people now are fighting.
Oh, it's an uglier world. It's a way uglier world.
It is a way ugly world.
I'm almost scared to step outside anymore.
But that's where
I hibernated myself because it's just, you don't get the same joy as going outside as you are. It's like, oh, everything is so competitive. Everything is so fake. Everything is so manufactured and too materialistic, to a point when I walk in the shopping mall and I was like, look at these people. Instead of searching from the outside in or from the inside out, they're going outside in. They try to feed their bodies everything and nothing for the soul, and the soul gets imprisoned.
Yes. Well, I live by simple philosophies, and one of those is the more time and effort we put into our outside appearance, the less time and effort we're putting into our inside appearance. I prefer to be one who pays more attention to my inside. You know, Mike, one of the things that I love saying is I've got a missing tooth, and people say to me, oh my God, why don't you go and get it fixed? It doesn't bug me because I know that this body is only a blink in the soulistic eternity of what my existence is. So I say to people, don't look at the mouth saying the words. In comparison, look at the words coming out of the mouth. So in other words, don't put so much onus on our material. Yeah, obviously, I've got painted nails. I do my hair.
That's okay for the feeling. That's okay for everybody. They want to feel good. They don't want to judge. They just want good energies, and that's okay to an extent.
Definitely, there is that extent there, but yes.
But what I'm saying, to like I said, because we have to finish things up, unfortunately, because it's been really a pleasure, an absolute pleasure talking to you. To end things up, I'll say like that we need to tell people, and people need to be aware that they should not be afraid of death, but they should prepare for it. And when I said prepare for it, I said prepare for it mentally. Know that there is a constant battle between your soul and your physical body. One wants to take you to feel that you're going to live that lifespan, you're unstoppable. Every day is promised, tomorrow is promised, next month is promised. Just eat now, drink now, enjoy yourself now. Or there's the part that says, hey, we are forever beings, we are light, we are souls, and we are just now in a transit. We're in a hallway going into the lounge. from one lounge to another. What do we need to do? Why are we in these bodies? Are we here for a mission? Like, we know we're eternal. There's part of us that know that we are souls. If we all believe that we just die and there's nothing happens, everybody would be evil. But inside of us, we know that we are capable of producing good.
Absolutely.
And that nobody can take it away from us, even from the most wicked.
That's exactly right.
Find it outside of this physical needs. So,
and we, we must remember, our souls are eternal. Through reincarnation and life contracts, we did sign up to be here at this specific time. We knew what we were coming into before our incarnation as this body. So enjoy it. People say to me all the time, why did I sign up for this? And I say, because you wanted to be here. This is what's happening in the past 2 years is history in the making. Who wouldn't want to be here for it? But it's who you want to be through it is what's going to create your character and realign your soul for when the lessons and the life contract, etc. We've all got life lessons, we've all got life contracts, and it's what we want to accomplish on that eternity of being our soul. So you've come here to experience this, not just to have no job for the past 2 years and you can't pay your mortgage, or you don't know if you can keep your car because petrol prices are going up. That's not why we're here. We're here to test ourselves. How generous are we being? How kind, loving, forgiving, understanding, compassionate? How much are we allowing others to do what they want without ourselves getting judgmental or accusations thrown at them and asking why they're doing things? So this is the perfect opportunity for so many people now to be learning lessons. And unfortunately, the big line is most people don't know that they're doing the wrong thing until somebody else points it out.
Exactly.
They're unaware that their behaviors are so negative. They're just so used to fighting. They're used to being aggressive. They're used to being angry. But it only takes one person to say, are you aware that when you act like that and your behavior is creating this negativity, you're spewing that out of you to all these other people who don't deserve it? So we start waking people up through these little acts as we were talking about. And hopefully we're going to win this war, because I do believe that we're in a spiritual war right now.
Yes, we're definitely in a spiritual war. And that's going to, unfortunately, that's why this is the time to wake people up to this subject, just so people can because something physical is about to happen in this world. It's good. Then all you will need to survive when it happens will be your spiritual knowledge, abilities, and spiritual strength. All you will need is that hope, because nothing will be left physical to hang in. That's
right. Yeah, that's right.
And I'll tell you one more thing before I go off record. You also do hypnotherapy. Is that did I read it correct?
No, I don't do hypnotherapy. Sorry?
Hypnosis or anything like that?
Well, I do it here at my own house, and I do past life regressions, but I only do it in person.
In person.
But, I do I have readings of people all over the planet. I love doing mediumship, but like yourself, I don't prefer to do it. I much prefer people to say, hey, can you give me some direction, or can you give me some advice regarding this that I'm going into? Can you tell me my aura?
I only say that because I don't deal with it. I personally, I don't think it's my mission. My mission is to be like a doctor, like almost like a psychiatrist is a doctor to the soul, but that's from a scientific, physical aspect. I'm talking about the soul, past life, like soul advice, to get to feel, to talk to the person and be like, you know what, I might think like I know what your soul needs, but you can take it anywhere you want, because it's ultimately a decision.
No, that's like that. That's all it's all free advice, isn't it? People will come, because it is energy, and people are now, as you said before, it's like that magnetism. And, I call it that attractiveness, because we are attracted to other energies, and people are now still waking up and we certainly cannot compare one person to the next. What level of soul lessons that they've learnt, we can't judge why they've done anything in their lives. But the very fact that they are inquisitive and they want to know more is sufficient for me to say, grab my hand and I'll take you on this roller coaster.
Yes, it's also because they know that there is a lot of evil going on in the world, and that's good. So people are kind of waking up and they turn to it. And we all feel like there is a sense of emergency, sense of urgency and emergency in the air as far as what the world is becoming, how the and well, it is. We looked at as crazy people, as like saying, hey, well, do it, but
yeah. Well, just to go there with some of the prophecies that I was told back in 2001. She told me about 9/11. She told me about the Indonesian earthquake, tsunami. She told me what started in 2015. Which has now come out starting in 2020, because this was all pre-planned. She told me about all this stuff now happening. She told me what's coming next year up until about 2026. It's still not, we're getting through it, but there is still some very, very serious things coming. And that is that urgency now where I'm getting drawn to want to be more involved with other people as well, because awesome.
Wonderful. And maybe you can also assist us and help us out with some tips of how to write our first book here, which will be the AfterLife Diaries, my stories and other stories, and some,
Yeah. Well, you've got mine. I've just sent it to you, darling. So please read it. I like personally writing my own story. So it's like me just telling a story. That's how I tell my stories. Other people like making it more technical, more scientific, or, like a thesis type thing. But I prefer it to be like a story that you'd hear, just someone coming over for a coffee and they say, oh, I've got a story to tell you. That's how I personally prefer to write, because it's on like a layman's level where people can understand it. That's why I don't like going really like too deep. Obviously I get a lot of people emailing me. I love getting up in the morning. I read my emails, but so then I go deep with them so I can actually address their questions more on a personal level. But I do have my YouTube channel, Dr. Lynda Kramer, where people do email me questions and they say, hey, can you talk about this? And I think, yeah, what a good topic. I will say something on that.
Yeah, I would love to, invite you sometimes to be a guest when I grow a little bit more, and you can do the same. Maybe we can just pick up a subject like, the next
absolutely
next I want to talk about would be reincarnations. I think it's one of the most fascinating and yet one of the most proven things, even scientifically proven things about the afterlife and the before life.
Well, I've written about reincarnation in here, just from what she told me about it.
I would love to talk to you about this. Exchange, do another video. We always want to, even if it's talking about the same thing, it doesn't matter. That's what any lecture, any professor would do, is just take a different classroom and talk about that, and always get more insights, because I feel like the more the weeks pass, the months pass, the more wisdom I get from that, like spiritual wisdom. It's something that's continued, like it's just like I used to grow from a baby to an adult. I feel like spiritually I'm growing now. From the accident, I'm still growing spiritually.
Absolutely, so am I. And that's why I don't call myself a guru or a master, because there's still so much out there that we don't know about. And, as long as we just get those little pieces that I mentioned in the beginning, we take a little bit from here and a little bit from there, and we try and work it all out. So there is that formulation, but maybe
we're do good. I just want to do good and be good. That's all I want to do.
That's exactly.
If I can help people and teach my story and inspire, there'll be things. But Lynda, again, doctor, thank you so much for being a part of this conversation. I had a blast. And I'm sure that Lisa did too, listening to us. It's only a second episode.
Wow.
For more to come. And we'll send you the link. Hopefully you can share this and share some of your
of course I will. Yes.
Thoughts about this conversation. And I agree, I agree with almost 100. I agree with 100% what you said. And I could really relate to a lot of the things that you've experienced. and I have no doubt that it's because that's exactly what I feel. So
Yes.
I totally could relate.
Mhm.
That's why I didn't really have too many questions like, what do you think it was? I was kind of more of like going to, hey, I got the answers to that, so I can share it with you. But that was wonderful, and I appreciate it. And keep
Yep.
doing what you're doing. And again, thank you so much for
Yep.
your time.
Oh, thank you for your time too. You know,
All
you
right.
keep doing what you're doing as well, darling. The more we share, the more we tell.
Yeah, and
So
we
more
just
people
gotta
come
start
in.
somewhere, and we're starting. Hopefully starting big.
Absolutely. That's right. You know, we've always got to start small, and it's just one random act at a time. That's all it takes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, thank
So
you so
thank you for
much.
having me.
You're
Yep.
welcome. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.